business is going there. So how the decisions are made in that particular country, the manager must know about this, so that he can reach to the proper person and the time decision is taken within the time. What is the legal system, how much is the corruption, how much the manager will have to pay to start a business in that particular country. That's why the case is shown to you. Now I am giving you a little bit conceptual knowledge, and then we will discuss the case of the sub-Saharan Africa on the basis of it. So we are talking about national differences in political economy. When the business is going to the alien country, foreign country, the political economy is different. And the political economy means, as I told you, governance, whether it is a democratically government or a presidential form of government or dictatorship, army dictatorship, or a theocratic society, theocratic government, or what sort of law, legal system is there in that particular country, what type of contract law and property laws are there. All these included, they all basically are called as a political economy of that country. So if a business is going to a foreign destination, must understand first what sort of political economy is there, so that they can perform better there. Political economy, in terms stresses that the political economy and the legal system of the country, as I told the same, legal system and political economy and contract laws are there. Then political system is basically, when we define the political system throughout the world, anywhere you take it, are defined on two bases. One is whether the government emphasizing the individualism or collectivism. And second is, if it is a democratic government or totalitarian government. The first difference emphasizes whether all the decisions of the government are taken in the interest of the collective or the society as a whole at the cost of the one individual. Individual freedom is not more important in that case. And as against it, individualism, there are countries like Western countries, Anglo-Saxon economies like European, UK, America, Canada, and Australia, where individual freedom and liberty is given more important. Because liberty and individual freedom is given a more important, market-oriented economy is there. Because market is a place which gives the choice to the individual to purchase or not to purchase. There is no basically force on him to purchase. That is his own will. If he wants to purchase or do something, he can do it, otherwise he will not do it. So individual freedom is regarded there. But in a collective society where all the decisions are taken by the government of economic decisions in the interest of the society, individual liberty is sacrificed. So in some of the countries, individual liberty is emphasized. They are free market economy, because market consider the liberty, give the liberty maximum, highest preference. And in a collective, the society is most. But in order to safeguard the interest of the society in a free market economy, then some regulating agencies are there so that the market do not exploit the other people. And the second discrimination is based on democratic and totalitarian society. Most of the countries now democratic, but in each country democracy is basically applied differently. Democracy is not the same in India and in Pakistan and in Bangladesh or in Iran or in other countries. How the democracy is applied in different countries, every country has a different. But in democratically elected country mean the representative run the government, people's representative run the government. And in totalitarian, where the government has total power, individuals do not have the say. Individual freedom is not basically granted. This totalitarianism can be of a communist economy, one party rule, as it was in former Soviet Union or East European countries, or it can be a military dictator, or it can be a right-thinking dictator, or it can be a theocratic dictator, a religious dictator, just like Ayatollah Khomeini was there in Iran, based on everything is based on religion, and he was dictating everything in the government. So the difference is there. In collectivism, goals are more important than individual goods, collective goods, social goods. Individual rights are sacrificed. And in the modern world, collectivism expressed as through socialism, that is known as a socialism. Whereas individualism is direct opposite to collectivism, where the central focus is the individual liberty, freedom of the individual. And that is how the governments basically, this philosophy, out of this philosophy emerges the form of government. What form of government is? That philosophy defines whether you give more emphasis to individual liberty, you will have a democratic form of government. If you are giving a more importance to the collective benefit, you might have some socialistic form of government. And in democracy, as I told you, the difference is the same, democracy and dictatorship. Then there are, this is political system basically we are talking about. So different type. Some countries are having democracy, most of the countries are having democracy, whereas in sub-Saharan Africa or most of the African countries, there is a sort of dictatorship most of the time. And in some countries now there are not much communist countries, leaving aside China, North Korea, Cuba. There is a communist government, dictatorship. In the rest of the country there is a democracy. And democratic form of government, it may be a presidential form of government or it may be a parliamentary form of government. And in a parliamentary form of government, it may be a republic or it may not be a republic, like England is not a republic, it's a parliamentary form of government. India is also a parliamentary form of government. But India is republic, but England is not republic. Denmark is not republic. Netherlands is not republic. Republic means where head of the state is elected, like our Rashtrapati is the head of the state, who is elected by the people. And in those countries, king is there, which perform the role of a president. That is by birth. But still democracy is there. You do not have much power. And economic system is basically, as I told you, from the same thing. If you are giving more emphasis to the individual liberty, you will have a free market economy. Or if you are giving a collectivism, you will have a communistic economy, socialistic economy. So this economic thinking and political thinking is intervened in a big way. They are basically connected. So what sort of thinking is there in the country? If it is individualism, then it will be a free market economy. Otherwise there will be a socialistic economy. And mostly what we find is there are three types of economies. One is the market economy, another is the command economy, third is the mixed economy, as we were talking about. Market economy is where all the economic decisions are taken by the government, taken by the market. What the demand is, demand will decide what should be produced, and that will give direction to the supply. And market will decide how much wage should be given to the worker. Market will decide how much rent should be given to the capital, rate of interest. Market will decide how much should be the price of a commodity, demand and supply of that commodity. So everything will be decided by the market, and since the market represents the will of the people, supplier and buyers, both. So basically what the people want in a country, that indication is given by the market forces. And those activities are undertaken in that economy, the free market economy. So basically because of these things, in a free market economy, that is produced or the production, factors of production are utilized in such a way, whatever people want, that is produced. Number two, factors of production are most efficiently utilized. They are paid what their market price is based on the demand and supply. That is why most of the time nowadays it is understood that the free market economy can have high growth rate. After the fall of the Soviet Empire, when East European countries which were earlier communist, they started converting to the free market economy. Now there is no country, they are leaving aside one or two countries. Every country is going toward the free market economy, and everybody, there is no doubt in it, that there is a consensus among economists that a sort of free market economy is better for the group. But in a free market economy too, how much should be the role of the government, that is another question. Whether government should have power to distribute the income or should not have distribution. Production is okay by the market forces. So how much, what should be the size of the government? There is a difference between the free market economy. In some of the economy, there is social welfare government does so many activities, like European, France, Germany, and some Scandinavian countries where the government expenditure is somewhere near about 50% of the GDP and more than the GDP. Public sector undertaking is very powerful. Government is very powerful. And then there are other economies which feels that government should be minimum, where the government budget is less than 30% like England, America and India and some other countries. But India is still social welfare country. So then this is a mixed market economy. Another is the command economy where everything, what should be produced, where the factors of production should be utilized, it will be decided by the government. And we were having the same type of, similar type of system before 1980. After that we started liberalizing. So government control is too much on the economy. Many a time government decide about the price, sugar price or cement price, we used to do it. Government give the quota of scarce commodities, steel quota or cement quota or sugar quota, given to the supplier, to the shopkeepers. Government decides so many things, wage rate, government decides rate of interest, government decides exchange rate, not by the market forces. That is in a command economy. And we were having that. Our exchange rate was decided by the government. Before 1980, rate of interest was decided by the RBI, or Government of India we can say. So it was more or less towards a command economy. But we used to call it a mixed economy that time. And then third is the mixed economy, where some weight is given to the collectivism, social welfare, and some weight is given to the private also, individual liberty. So there in that economy, the benefits, it is assumed that the benefits of the free market economy will be there, and the benefits of the socialistic economy will also be there. But how that is to be controlled, that is a big problem. And sometimes it happens, rather than coming the good points of both the system, there comes the bad things of both the system. By the way, that is unintended effect. We were having the same system where the bad points of both the system were creeping into the economy before 1970, and that's why our growth rate was very less that time. So these are the three types of economic system. Then legal system, if we talk about political system, we are talking about political economy. Political system, any business going to the alien country must understand the government, must understand the economy. Who controls the economy, whether government controls the economy or market controls the economy. Third is the legal system, and normally there are three types of laws. One is the common law, that is origin is England, which is based on tradition, practice, etc. Every law is defined on the basis of practice. And that decision in itself become a law further. That will be quoted by other cases. In other cases, the similar case was decided that way in earlier court, so this case also be decided that way. So there is a flexibility of the judges if the law depends on the tradition, practice and rituals. Another is the civil law, where everything is written, coded. And in that case, the judge cannot go beyond that written norm. You have to produce proof and you have to cite the rule. This is the rule, as per this rule, this is how it is happening. And then the decision takes place. It may be an economic joint collaboration. It may be a contract between exporter and importer. It may be a contract between borrower and depositors. It may be a contract between supplier and the parent company. It may be a contract between distributor and the producer in business. How that is decided, whether that depends on the common law or it depends on the civil law, which is written, or it is a theocratic law. That makes a difference, because otherwise business can't enter in an alien society. And theocratic law is basically based on religion. What the religion says. In some countries like Pakistan is having a Shariat law, which is based on Quran or Sunnah. And some Arabian countries are also, Saudi Arabia and some other Muslim countries are also having that Shariat law. Even Iran is having that law. And in that particular law, rate of interest is considered as a sin. Anybody giving rate of interest and taking rate of interest is considered as a sin. That is based on morality. So the banks which give interest rate or take rate of interest from the borrowers, that system doesn't suit in that theocratic society. So they have started making it a Islamic banking. And in that Islamic banking, the rate of interest is not there, but service charges are there. You have to pay the service charges, that's all. So that is all. If the law is theocratic, then it will be decided by the religion. Jews are also having their own, Hindu also have their own, and Islamic law is very famous for that. So what sort of law in that country is where you are going as a manager of any company, whether it is a common law, civil law, or theocratic law, that makes a difference on your business. And you will have to decide accordingly whatever you take decision. And there is a contract. How the contract is basically made and how the contract is applied. If there is a breach of contract between the two joint ventures, between the parent company and subsidiary, between the franchise, those who give the franchise right to somebody else in the outside, there can be a conflict. Between the exporter and importer, there is a contract. If there is a breach of contract, how that is to be implemented, that is a major issue. Whether there should be the law should apply to a home country or a host country from where the capital is coming, which country's law should apply, there is a difficulty. So normally, as a matter of practice, UN is also entering in this, and that is known as a Contract for International Sales of Goods, CIGS, that is UN. And some common features are taken in that. And those who are the signatory of this, they will follow this contract law. Neither importing countries nor exporting countries, there may be a difference between contract law between two countries. If they are signatory to CIGS, they will follow that law. So what sort of contract law is there, that is a major issue for the business firms. They should think about it. Then property rights. Whether the property right is there or not, what sort of property right is there. Property right means you have agricultural land, whether you can sell it or not. You have a house, if you give it on a rent, whether you can get it vacated or not. You have the right of your property. If you can't get it vacated, it means you don't have the property right. Tenant will be there, and it will basically kill your acquisitive instinct. Now you will not further build houses for renting purposes, because you know those who will come there you can't vacate it. So basically this property right, whether you are giving right to the person who acquires the property, he will have more intention for hard work and making profit and doing expanding the economy for the growth. If that right is not given, then it will curb the growth rate of the country. Then people will not have motivation for hard work or doing business or doing ventures, earning money, if that is the property right is not there. And this property right is basically violated by the private action. Theft is there, extortion is there, and then protection fund is there, some underworld gang is there, you are a businessman, they come to you, okay, give me money, I will protect you, like it was in Soviet Union during transition period. Or it was sometime back in a Bombay underworld. All businessmen, all rich people, they have protection, some underworld gundas. And gundas protect them and they take fees. That is private. If that law and order is not there, property right is not properly protected by the government, then obviously it will hurt the business in a different way. Nobody would like to make money. Nobody would like to disclose his property. Everybody would like to make it secret, if that type of system is there. And second is the public action, corruption. If the government take that property forcibly, you don't have right to protect it. If the government can take the agriculture land forcibly, then nobody will purchase the agriculture land further. If you do not have the property right on your land, you will not basically improve on the, you will not have a, you will not install too well. God knows, government le leto. Right? So the property right basically can be violated by the private, those who are violating the laws, private people or antisocial elements, or by the public, government. If the government can acquire your property without giving any notice or any acknowledgement, that's also a violation of the property law. Or the corruption. If the corruption, for anything you have to go to the government official, and government official want money for transferring the deed in your name. It may be a plot or it may be your agricultural land. It means you don't have the right property law. And if the property law is not there, then it is harmful for the country. Like in our agriculture society, agrarian, the land is in the name of our forefathers. And if the land is not in your name, you can't use that land for taking loan from the bank. You have the capacity to take the loan. You have the property, but the property is not your name. So you can't take the loan, and you can't expand the business. You can't invest because you are not given that opportunity. So that type of property laws and public action, private action determine the growth of the economy. And the corruption there is, some countries are very corrupt. Transparency Index, that is basically UN agency which basically calculate this corruption index. And on this corruption index, this is on 10-point scale, the country which has the highest scale is the most clean. Several parameters are taken in it. And the country which has the least scale is the most corrupt internationally. So in this parameter, this is old data. You can go to the computer network and you can find out the latest data also on the net. The transparency index of the countries. Finland, New Zealand, United UK and US are the most clean. And in this side, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Indonesia, even India is not that clean. Corruption is high. Nowadays, India might be at the bottom. God knows, we don't know. Because too much corruption. Coming scandal one after the other. And that basically changed this ranking. That ranking is changed every year. You can find out what is the latest. And if that system is there and you are doing a business in such a country, you will be prepared for giving bribe. And particularly for this, then there is another thing. Some countries have passed bill anti-corruption laws. If like America and UK, they have done, some other countries have done. Even if an American company doing business in India or some other countries, that is not allowed to give bribe here for getting order or getting favor from the government. If the American government comes to know that the company is using this, that company will be debarred. And that will be penalized. So that is there because though the corruption is not, the company is not doing the corruption in America. It may be an American company. It is doing corruption outside America or outside England. But still that is against the law. They have made a law. That's why the Walmart, the retail in FDI, Walmart was to come. First Walmart studied the system, our system. And they found that here to get some facilities, they have to give some bribe. So they are thinking again, if we will do this, our government will penalize them. So we will go slowly. They are going slowly. So that is there. Because of this also, then there you will have to find out what sort of economy it is when you are going to do a business in an alien country. This is the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act which I was talking about. That was passed by US and some other countries.
Transparency.
Yeah. And then there are intellectual property right, whether patent, trademark, copyright, whether they are basically protected properly or not. If they are not protected properly, then you are doing business in such a country, there is a chance that your patented technology might be copied. And you may not be able to make a profit. Or your copyright might be violated in software also. So there may be a pirated software, and there is nowadays it is normally it is understood that in China most of the softwares are pirated. Even in East Asian countries, softwares are pirated. India is also there, but India is not that high in that system. Little bit less. Somewhat piracy is there everywhere. In somewhat piracy there is in US also. But that level is low. And in some countries the level of piracy, of software piracy and the Patent Act and all this intellectual property right, and that is basically protected by which organization? Anybody? Intellectual property rights.
So intellectual property.
TRIPS, Trade-related intellectual property. Who operate this? WTO, World Trade Organization. If there is a violation, the case can be filed in the World Trade Organization. And this is what the piracy case is there. Highest piracy is in the East European countries and Asia Pacific. And least is in America and Western Europe. Piracy of the softwares. So intellectual property rights are violated. If you are having such products, so you will have to be careful. We are going in such a country where the piracy can take place. As a manager, you will have to be careful for that. And then Product Safety and Liability Act, whether if there is a damage to some consumer because the consumer has used your product, then how that can be, your liability is decided, how the damage is decided, if there is such. So you will have to think about that also before doing business in that country. Product safety is the responsibility of the producer, and the product is hazardous and can create, like medicine, have a side effect, and it can create some problem. So the company can be basically, case can be filed against the company, and the company will have to pay the damage. What sort of product liability rules and product safety norms are there in that country? You will have to study that before going to that country for doing business. So up to this I am giving this, that is sufficient. Now you can come and present the case, next case.